up, everybody? I'm Sal Kalani. This is Reggie Steele. And welcome to Spitballin. Spitballin.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Sal Kalani. This is Reggie Steele.
And welcome to Spitballin.
All right. Reggie trying to be cool with his intro like me, trying to steal my zany intro. So we got a guest today, Reg. We
Not
got
even.
a guest. He's
Yeah,
already
we have
in
a
the
guest.
room, and I figured we might as well get right to it. He's a comedian named, I guess, you want to introduce him? Well, he just had a special come out this week, and I want to promote it.
Wait, are you introducing him or not? You started the whole thing. We have a comedian.
No, I'm telling the people, but I'm not bringing him in. I like when you introduce it as I bring him in. So you got his credits down in your head. You did your homework, and you're all professionaled up.
Yeah, man. I mean, I know Chazz. I can't say I know him super well, but I
don't know him super well either, but I always like Chazz whenever I see him. He's Sacramento comedian, so we knew him from Sacramento, and we'd be over there.
So I'm gonna wing this one. I have a couple of things, but I'm gonna wing this one. Are you ready to let him in? Are we doing this right now?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go.
Well, we're excited to introduce you. We have a guest today, and we're really excited about having this guy on our show. He is a Bay Area or Sacramento-based comic. He's very funny. He's smart. He's clever. He's worked his way from the bottom to the top, and he just released his new special on YouTube called First Ones on the House. It is a phenomenal watch. I would say check it out. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Chazz Hawkins.
There he is, baby. In the flesh.
Yes, there he is. What's up, bro?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Now, there you are.
Oh, there we go. There you go.
Right.
Can you turn your volume up a little bit thoh? Like
yo,
Jay-Z, turn me up.
Yeah, what you got? Your baby sleeping in the other room?
let me go grab a better headset, man. My bad.
No,
Okay.
You're good, dog. You're good. Oh, you got his King's hat, rocking the King's hat. Yeah. All right. I like that. This guy asked me, I got the script. That's funny. He told me not to talk. Well, I'll just say this. I'd play a basketball fan, but I'm a Laker fan who likes Kobe over LeBron. I'm like,
oh, dude, you're really gonna have to act.
But it's in the past. It's like Miami Heat LeBron. So I think before LeBron, I'm not sure the time. I think it was before he might have won a ring. So maybe that argument stood at that time.
Nah, no, come on, no. You still like LeBron over Kobe.
Sound better?
Even in 2012?
Yes.
Okay,
even
cool.
Yeah, that's better.
Even before LeBron won a ring.
Yes, he was, dude. He revitalized the whole city, bro. You understand that people made more money in Cleveland than they had ever made in their entire lives when that dude was.
All right, well, let's get back to our guest here.
All right.
Look at this shit. I like this. He's looking like you doing something for NASA with this headset.
Had to go old school, all these.
You took that from one of the Apollo launches. Chazz Hawkins here. Great guy. We were just saying, we don't know you super well, but like whenever we've met you, you've always been awesome. And then a lot of times in this game you hate on people, but when I saw your thing, I was like so happy for you. And then I was watching it and I'm like, bro, this shit looks very pro. And a lot of people have been doing stuff, putting stuff out, and a lot of them shouldn't be yet, or it doesn't look that good. And I don't know what you did. I'm going to be asking you a lot of questions, maybe, but that shit looks very good, Chazz. So congratulations, man.
Yeah,
thank
man.
you.
Congratulations.
Thanks, man.
I want to say this too. Sal does not speak for me with the part about hating on anybody. Like I've never been that comic. So
get out of here, Reg. We've had people and you're like, oh, you're going to post that? Or
no, that's not hating. That's not hating. That's just being honest. Right. That's not hating. That's just being honest.
I just hate seeing that bullshit.
Yeah, there have been some clips and I'm like, really? You didn't have anybody else vet this shit before you let it go? You didn't have nobody else watch this, or at least somebody who loves you, right? Somebody that loves you gotta watch the clip before you post it. That's all I'm saying. Or somebody you trust. But yeah, man, like Sal said, you know, we didn't know you a whole lot because you're a Sacramento-based comic, but from the times that I've ever been around you, the one thing that I always recognized was that you were always really solid in yourself. Like you had a strong sense of knowledge of self, in the sense of like you always just seem really comfortable in your skin, and you're super clever, man, super smart. I watched the special last night. Visually, it's stunning. I was like, my man has taken every part of every special that he's seen that he liked, and he made that joint happen, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah. And the lighting, I was like, man, do you got like a blue filter going on in here somewhere? Or there was something with some lighting. I was like, yo, the lighting is nice and the angles were good. Um, and then the special itself, man, listening to the content, it was like a locomotive, bro. Like you literally just got up to speed, came out the gates, got going, and before you know it, you hit your stride. And then it was like there were some moments where I was like, yo, this ain't even a part of the special right now. He's straight up he's just in comic mode. I was like,
Nah, I mean, because you know how it is when like for me, I need to have like space. I need to be free. So it's like, when you're doing a special, what happens is it's so important that you don't be yourself.
right,
So I
right.
I was like, you know what? Because I only had one show.
Yeah, I
And
saw that.
so it's like one of those things where I was like, well, I'll go as long as I need, and then I had that freedom to work a little loose. And then it's like the power of editing, if something I don't like it, or I didn't go about it the right way, then I'll just cut it out. But if I don't do it that way, it's gonna be bad. It's like you're not showing a true vision of yourself. And like,
Right.
as far as like specials, I watch comedy all the time. Like I've always watched specials, and I just like love the art form. So I did try to take like anything that I liked from a special and just like incorporate that. And like I did like a deep dive, because I was actually gonna record maybe an album like years ago, like prior to the pandemic happening.
Okay.
And because it's just I never put anything out. And then the pandemic happened, and then like right before the pandemic, the shutdown, I had my second kid.
Mm.
So
Wow.
it was just it was good because I had all this time, home. And even now I'm kind of still working from home.
Okay.
But it was like, now that I think about it and I actually did the special, I'm like, I'm so glad that I waited, just because like a lot of my life has changed. Even though I already had a kid before,
Right.
like having your second kid is kind of like, I don't know, it like, now that I have two kids, when I had one, I think that's kind of like having no kids.
Right.
uh so and then like I did a deep dive. Like I bought like a camera, not like super high end, but like a 4K shooting camera. I
Mhm.
learned about lenses. I started doing that like prep work probably like a year or two ago. And
Wow.
then just like on YouTube, like the you could find so much information online.
Right.
And so like from super quality specials to like what you can DIY yourself, like the bar is not that far from each other.
Mm.
Wow.
It's just that they've been in the game, they already know it. So it's like you watch these videos and you learn all this stuff, and it's like, okay, I could actually do this, and I could do it quality. And then when we shot it, there's a comic that's in Sacramento. His name's Luke Sowen, and he's a comic, but he's also a filmmaker. Um, so him and one of his friends, Vin Chandra, they I got them to shoot it. But even though I already had my knowledge, like it's kind of like I had everything planned in case I had to do it all by myself.
Right. Right.
Wow.
I just always worked that way. And,
That's
but
smart.
but obviously they know filmmaking. Like they have a movie that they're working on called Canceled, and so it's like they're gonna bring some elements to it that I don't have. I know
Right.
stand up, and I know like the angles of the club and all that stuff. But people can, when you give them space to create, everybody can add a little something to it. So
Yeah.
that's what we got out of it. And then it was just me working the material and trying to structure it in a way that fits for an hour.
Okay.
Because doing an hour is different than doing a
Yeah.
15-minute spot, doing a 30-minute spot, and like trying to get people's attention for that whole hour.
The pacing is different too.
The
I
pacing
feel.
is different. So let me ask you this. I mean, you've done 45 plus before, right? I know I've seen schedules where you were headlining the Sacramento Punchline on different times, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So
So
on those shows, would you keep it relatively 45 to 50? Or would you try to extend it a little bit?
it depends. I mean, I go with the crowd as far as like if it's a long show, like if it's a 3 setup show, then that's fine to go long. But when it's like maybe there's 4 or 5 comics,
Yeah.
sometimes the crowd gets winded, and then it's just the stand up is different during check
Oh,
drop.
yeah, man.
So
Yeah, I firmly believe in less is more sometimes, right? Especially in shows like that, where if you do have 4 people ahead of you and you really got 90 minutes, right? Really
yeah.
90 minutes to make it happen. And once you start getting into that 100-minute mark, 120 minutes, and people, they go from this to like, you know what I mean? Like, man, I'm
They get held
exhausted, right?
hostage.
So
They start looking at their watch and everything,
yeah,
and so
on the under though, like, oh yeah.
Hey, was there a check drop during your set at the Punch?
So I did everything different. Like I was super meticulous. I was like on some Batman shit.
Nice.
So I only had one opener. My friend Nick Aragon, he lives in LA now. So I had him.
Yeah, I know
open.
Nick.
And then he killed it. But then I did a 15-minute intermission between me going up. So it's like I almost went up cold, but not really,
Interesting.
And that helped a lot because I had all these people that I've known through my whole life, and they didn't really get a chance to like mingle and talk, before the show. They kind of get a little bit of anxiety, but you start the show, you take an intermission, people go to the bathroom, they come back, they chat a little bit. But then they're ready, that they were already ready from the opening set.
Right.
How long does Nick do? 15 to 20?
Yeah, I told him 15,
Yeah,
20,
smart.
it was kind of like,
you don't want that shit long, get that shit ready, and I gotta go.
Yeah, and I was like, and if you're up there 10 and you want to get off, like whatever, man.
Good.
Like,
Yeah.
we'll just like we're gonna make it happen,
No complaints.
But
right.
But
Wow,
yeah,
yeah. That's really interesting, man. I don't think I've ever heard of an intermission between the opener and the headliner.
Yeah, what gave you that idea?
I had been like doing some shows around town, and there's this one comic that runs a show. His name's Marcus Mangum. He runs this show. I think it's in Napa, and he would do all the comics up front, and then he'd take an intermission. It's at it was like a wine tasting place. So he'd do an intermission, and then he'd bring the headliner up. And then when I did that show, I was like, I really like that. Like I didn't think I would like it. On paper it sounds like you wouldn't like it because you kind of kill some of the momentum.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking.
But it just works when it's like an atmosphere that's like a cool hangout vibe,
Right. Okay.
So
people can relax and, like you said, use the restroom, mingle a little bit, settle in.
I mean, everyone knew each other there too, right? It was a lot of people knew each other.
Yeah, and like they knew me. Some of them don't know each other, but it's like it's like a couple degrees of separation.
Right,
like my parents were there, and then like my wife's like my in-law family was there, and then like friends from high school.
You sell it out?
Oh yeah.
He
oversold that joint. I'm glad the fire department didn't show up.
See, here's another thing. Like, I love that room. And and I'll say, like, we came up in SF, but I think some of my best sets were in Sacramento Punchline. And yeah, there's like 50 more seats, and there's something about the Sac, they're not super PC, but they're not dumb rednecks. And it's just right down the alley. And then when you put that backdrop, like that was such a great idea. That's because here's the thing. Sometimes people make these things and it's too small of a room and it doesn't look as big. You know what I mean? And it doesn't look as so if I just said the random person on YouTube going to find it, they're going to be like, you know what I mean? So most of them, of course, got theaters. We're not in that position. So you took one of the best rooms and you made it look almost theater-like. And it was amazing, man. Like, it didn't have that comedy club vibe.
Yeah. I love the backdrop. And there's the angle from if you're from the state, from the left, where you're to the far right of the screen and you see that wide lens.
Yeah.
That right there, that's the picture. That's the one. You frame that joint, because that's the one that set the tone for me. I was like, oh, okay. I get to see the audience. I get to see the feel of the space, but also it just looked it looked packed. It for me
Is this the one you talking about?
Yes, but yes, that's the one. Yeah, that's the one. As a comic, I was like, that's the space that you want, right? Like when you walk on stage and you see that right there, energetically, you're like, oh, it's gonna be a phenomenal night.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right? So yeah, man, I was watching the special, man. There was a lot of hilarious moments. I love that you was like, I'm gonna get deep, and had a couple moments of like, yeah, I don't know if I should tell this story, but here we are, right? And it's the one about the 15, like being 15 years old and that whole experience, which was hilarious, by the way. And to be like, and the dude that smashed is actually here. The dude that told me that this thing was gonna happen, that I was gonna do this, and the dude that did the thing is here, which cracked me up even more on top of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I loved your comfort level. I was like, okay, as a comic, once again, and I keep prefacing that or saying that because I want the audience to understand that there's a difference between being an audience member and being a comic when you're viewing things, right? It had the special feel, right? Like, okay, these are his ideas, this is what he's trying to do. But then it also had like, yo, I'm just a comedian. And this could be like my headlining set on a given night at the club, right? So it was a nice little crossover between the two, where it's like, all right, this is what we're doing, but also, like you said, that freedom to be yourself completely.
Yeah.
And I think that came out even more so for me later in the set when you started dropping the MFers, where you was like, oh, this smoke. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, he's in his comic mode now. I was like, we're getting a pure stand-up right now. This is the pure comedian. He's not going by the set list anymore at this point, right? So
did you have all that in vision? I want to know, just like setting it up with the curtain, the camera angles, like you had all that in your head beforehand?
So like I said, I was super, because I don't ever do stuff like this. Like I don't ever like, I do stuff for other people, but it's like hard to like do stuff for myself. Or when I do it, it's like I want to do everything because it's like it's my dream. So it's hard for me to be like, you need to work as hard as I'm gonna work at it because this is my dream,
Right.
So it's like with the backdrop, it's like I love like the Sacramento and the SF punchline backdrop. They're like iconic, but at the same time they are busy.
Right.
So I was
especially
like,
totally.
Yeah, for a special. And it's like, so I decided, it's like I want to cover it. At first I thought you had to cover it, but they were like, nah, you could use it. But I was like, you know what, I'm gonna cover it, because then it's like I'm the focal point, like this is my special. And it's like,
right.
So I just want people to, I want to kind of bring everybody in. And so I did this whole thing, like I was trying to match the curtains with the burgundy. And so I bought some curtains, and then when they showed up, they were like orange, and I was like, shit. And so then I had to take those back, buy some black ones, because it's like I did a lot of the backdrop. So even like an hour and a half before the show started, I was at the venue like steaming the curtains.
God damn.
Dang, man. You're doing
that doesn't help you get in the zone.
No, I actually that whole day I didn't even eat. I didn't realize that until after the show. I didn't eat because it's like I was up trying to like make sure everything was set up. And I mean, we had went a couple days before. Like they were super cool about like opening the venue up so we could like test stuff out to see how it looked on the camera. So I changed like wardrobe and like set everything up that way. But then it's like the day of, you have to set everything up, and it just has to be ready to go, because even before the show starts, there's an hour where people are coming in, and you can't be doing stuff on stage then. Like it takes the allure away.
Yeah.
Do you stay in the green room during that whole time?
I normally don't, but I did. I did that time. I came out for a second because my parents were there, and so I went and said like like hey to my parents, hugged them and stuff. But then I went right back.
And wow, so, I wouldn't even have done that. I'd be like,
Well, you know,
See me afterwards.
you know what, Chazz, I want to say this too, real quickly, because you just touched on it, like the idea that you're willing to do a lot of things for other people, but sometimes not for yourself. And
Yeah.
and your dream, you know, it's that thing of asking, like you said, how am I going to ask you to work this hard on my dream? You got to let go of that, because everybody who's accomplished anything has found those people, because people believe in you, right?
Yeah.
Like the fact
Yeah.
that people came out, people believe in you, and they want to see you succeed. They want to see you make it happen. So don't ever be afraid to ask people to help you make your dreams come true, because there are people who want to make that happen. And I mean, honestly, and I learned this, it's not about me, but just being in therapy in the last couple of years, you know, there's nothing wrong with asking for help. And a lot of times people want to help you, and you
Yeah.
deserve the help, in the sense that it's like, yeah, you believe in me and this is what I'm trying to do. And I'm okay with that. So so don't ever feel like you got to do it all yourself, because honestly, I'm sure that if you would have asked anybody, they'd be like, oh yeah, I can steam the curtains. Oh yeah, I'll put
Yeah.
you need me to
Yeah.
turn that,
Well,
because
and
and
none of those
having a
people
friend,
bought the curtains.
yeah, and having a friend, having a friend who's a world-renowned actor and an Academy Award winner, this dude legitimately has a team of people that help him realize his dreams, right? Like that's what it is. It's
Yeah.
like they work with him and for him to help his dreams come true. Now, obviously he pays them in a certain way, but even before he got to that point, there were people that were willing to help out
Yeah.
in a lot of
Yeah.
ways. So don't ever be afraid to ask, man. So yeah, but you did a great job, bro.
So you had to buy your own curtains.
Yeah, man. I bought my own curtains. Maybe the IRS would kick me down a few dollars from that, but
How did
Yo,
you
you
know
should
how
rent them
you?
out to the next person that wants.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
did.
borrow them curtains, dog. How big are they?
Dude, I got a few curtains. I'm good.
Are they like hundreds of dollars? They got to be expensive.
No, I mean, I went on Amazon, so it's like, I bought
Wow.
several of them, but it probably cost me like a couple $100, because it's like it just matters how it looks visually,
They
like
look great. Is it
They
velvet?
look great.
what is that? Velvet? No.
Is it velvet?
not
What
yet.
is that?
Yeah. Yo, so
Them
I know
curtains are dope.
we jump right into the special, right? Which is kind of, it goes against the grain of how we usually do things. So I want to take it back. I
Oh
want to
wait,
take it
hold
back.
on. Before we do that, I have one more question about.
Okay.
We'll go
Because we
probably
can get
touch
back
on
to
the
the special,
special.
because we're gonna
I
work
just
us
this
to it.
opening shot of the special I want to share.
Oh,
What is it? Are these like drone shots?
well, hold up, time out before you even say that. Yo, that opening, every scene in the opening, every cutaway, every shot, I felt like, personally, as a guy who's consumed so much comedy over the years, from the time that I was like 10 or 11, right?
Yeah.
I felt like you nailed every iconic scene from every great special. Be it straight up, I was like, oh, this dude took literally the best scene from every opening that I've ever seen of every special. That's phenomenal. Be it the bar scene, be it the green room, be it the outside, be it the sign. I was like, yo, this dude. The only thing you didn't have was just you walking down the hallway.
We did have a
long
walk
hallway.
in.
Yeah, I had
He had to walk from the side, but
You should have had you come up like the back steps there of the club, like it's
Yeah,
something,
exactly.
and sneak in the
Yeah.
back.
That was the only one that was missing, was walking up
Have
the
a
back
big
stairs
log.
through the
That's a
door.
good
And
idea.
have-
I'm gonna do that. Even
then
if
have
they
like
don't
a
have
fake-
it, just fake it.
have like a
Yeah.
fake doorman, and it's like I say what's up to him.
You're
Yeah,
walking around the
exactly.
club in circles. What's up? Oh yeah, what up,
Exactly.
dude? Yeah, just make it up.
That was the only one that was missing out of all of them. That was the only one. I was like, he didn't do the walk in, but that's great. Everything else was good. Like that intro was phenomenal, bro. Like you
All right,
really
hold on.
nailed it.
Let me
Thank
get
you,
it
thank you,
set
man.
up here.
Yeah. I was like, this
Um,
dude. So hear you say that it took you a year and a half, and that you as a student of the craft, and to watch so much comedy, and even figure out how things work. I'm like, I think that's a testament to your intelligence, because you talk about this on stage, like being a smart guy. You are really smart. Like I've always loved your joke structure. There's some moments that are super clever, like the whole the Friends joke,
Oh,
right? And then the white noise. Fucking hilarious.
Thank you.
Fucking
Thanks, man.
hilarious. I was like, damn, that's just good writing, right? It's funny, and it's just good writing. Like a lot of times I'll base comedy on the funniness of comedy sometimes for me is like, it's not so much like, you know, in the space. And I love what you said at the end about, you know, watch live comedy or watch comedians
Yeah,
live,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because when you're in the space, there's a voice, there's voice fluctuations, there's the you know, the little look on the face, there could be a little posture, there could be something, there are things that may not necessarily translate if you're not watching, right?
Right.
But I also base it on, like, if I read like those, some of your jokes, they're hilarious. So once you say them out loud, and then it's you, and there's your voice and your presentation, your presence, how you deliver every little thing to it, then it takes it up another notch, right? Like sometimes I would judge comedy based on that. Like, yo, if I read this, if I didn't see this person doing the little thing with the joke or whatever, and I read this, is this funny? And dude, I'm not blowing smoke, but a lot of your stuff, if you just read it, like you could take that whole set and write it as a book, and it would be fucking hilarious.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, here's the intro. Let's show this real quick,
Yeah,
because
this intro
then
is-
we'll get to yeah.
Anybody who's not watching this podcast right now, I suggest you put whatever it is down and go and watch.
All right, here we go. Can you hear it?
Oh, no,
Yeah, the music's good too. Like, look at that.
look, he's got the city, bro. So
Ladies and gentlemen, Chazz Hawkins.
Yeah, it's good, man. It's
Dude.
great.
I will put that opening up against anybody else's special.
And
Easy.
quick, 20 seconds.
Yeah. That's the thing.
Yes.
It's like, because people's attention span is shorter. So even though
It's too
it's like
short now.
you want to show those stuff, but it's like it's hard. I mean, I definitely worked on that. Like finding the music. I was like, oh, you know, like something I always liked is like a Ocean's 11 vibe. Like I like, you know, so it's like, and I called the special, like the first one's on the house. I had the title for the special way before I even shot anything. I just that's what I wanted to call it, because like I had
That's what it is, right?
I had a vision of everything where it's just
Right.
like, I'm going to try to sell it, but if I can't, I'll just put it out to everybody. The first one's free. And then like from there, like hopefully, you know, I'll get some fans, people will like it. But then
Right.
the next one, they got to pay me.
There
you know?
you go. No, that's great. I love it. I love it. I love
Are
it.
those drone shots?
Yeah, so those are some drone shots and just of the city, because it's like people have their view of what Sacramento is, and it's changed, you know, over the years somewhat, but it's like it's a legit city. Like we have a skyline, like, you know,
Right.
I know, you know, people always like judge basketball and stuff like that, but it's like, yo, we coming, you know.
Yeah,
And so it's
yeah.
just like, so I wanted to show some stuff that it's like, you know, you see that and it's like you don't necessarily know that Sacramento, but if you're from Sacramento, you know right from the jump
Yeah.
that it is.
Well, honestly,
Who
man, I thought
filmed
you were
it?
showing pictures. I thought you were showing video footage of Houston. I was like, that ain't Sacramento.
Yes,
This
dude.
dude stole Houston skyline and put Sacramento across the front of it. So
The guy who filmed the special, he filmed those drone shots.
No, so there's with different software, just like you can like get music, you can get different shots of the city.
Wow.
And so like we thought about doing it ourselves, but we just ran out of time. Like I was working on the editing of the special so much that it's like didn't have time to get those extra shots, you know.
So you could get that stuff and not have to you know, you don't have to pay once you have it. Like you pay maybe for it.
Yeah, I
but
mean,
once
like
you
you
have it,
like
it's like
license
stock
to be able to
footage.
use it. Yeah,
license.
it's stock footage, and it's
Wow.
like kind of like of every city. So it's, you know, it's like
That's amazing. I mean, it looked really good.
Yeah.
Fuck that. That's the way to go. It's
Yeah.
got to be so much easier. Wow.
Yeah,
Yo,
and I mean,
man.
like obviously, there's certain stuff you want, you know, then you got to work around that, because like there's a bridge in the opening, and I was gonna do a shot of me at the bridge, you know, because it's downtown.
Right.
But I didn't have time, so it was just
Right,
like, well,
right,
let me
right.
find what I could find, and you know,
dude, it was perfect. It was perfect. I like I said, I felt like you hit all the marks, man. If there was a list of things that you want to hit on the special visually, you hit every
Quick
last
is
one of them.
important too now, which sucks,
Yeah.
but it's the truth. And
Yeah.
but I kind of like the intro. Like I know some people there's start now go right into the first joke. They're like, you don't have time even for anything. But I kind of like an intro. Like it's kind of You know, I mean, I thought Louis Katz's was great because he had a bunch of famous people.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and I'm like, oh, that's smart, dude. It is a
And
little while, but you were totally caught in.
I did. I mean, even like what Reggie was saying was to ask people for help. Like I know I said that, but I did definitely reach out to everybody. So like Louis Katz, I reached out to him like right before his special came out, and just kind of like picked his brain a little bit, and he gave me like great advice, you know, and just like and then
What do you
his
say?
special blew up.
Nice. Shout out
Just
to
about
Louis for
like
that.
I mean, he said do some podcasts. And he's
Yeah.
like, once you shoot it and it's out, you're not done. You still need to,
Mhm.
do some grunt work with it and just,
Yeah.
so yeah, it was just kind of like those things where we kind of lose sight of that because we get structured down on just the craft of stand up.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, you gotta go on tour, right? Like after a film is made, then the whole cast goes on the marketing tour. They hit
Yeah.
every, morning show, right? And they hit every evening spot and every little that's because then you gotta sell it, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, I
thank you
think
for
a
doing it
lot
for
of
them.
it, I think, I don't know, sometimes we feel like there's this feeling like someone will come down and touch us and be like, all right, you're the one, and then everything gets taken care of. And maybe that happened to some people, especially like in the 80s or whatever, but like
Yeah.
now it's you do it all.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, you gotta
You
do the
make
work.
your own special, you record it, you steam your own goddamn curtains, and then and then you got to go promote it, you got to sell
Yeah.
it, you got to market. So, and that's what it is now. But yours is very quality, man. It's very good.
So
Yeah. Oh,
uh,
sorry.
no, I just want to say no, go ahead. Go ahead and I'll tell you what I was gonna say.
I was gonna say, so like with the special, because it's like I had all these things in mind, and I watched a lot of specials, and even on YouTube, I just watched so many of them, and since there's so many, they're not special,
I was
you
just
know,
gonna say
Correct.
that. I was
and
just gonna say
Correct.
that.
and so there's things where it's like, yeah, we're not in theaters, so I don't have that luxury, but what I do have is a comedy club, and most people don't actually shoot in a comedy club. It's a different
Yes.
vibe. I got my city here. All these people are here to watch me win. And then I can tell stories that involve them. And it's just like that show can only happen at that place with those people. And
Right.
so
Mhm.
that's what makes it special. Like it's special to me. Like there's a part when I'm asking like how long are people married? And
Yeah.
I knew my parents were I knew nobody was going to be married longer than them.
46
So
years. Shit, that's a
yeah,
long
so
time.
it's like it would be rare. Like I mean, like the people in my family are married for a long time, so it's like maybe if one of her sisters was there, then they might have a couple more years on them. But other than that, I felt like so I only said that so that I could get them to say it. And so it's like my mom's voice is on the special, so it's like
That's cool.
that's
Yeah,
the
that's
thing that
really
I just
cool.
love, And then
Yeah.
I could hear my sister's laugh, I could hear my dad's laugh,
That's
I could hear other
cool.
people that I know's laugh like within the special. So it's just like it was special to me. So that's
Yeah,
what like
absolutely. And it was
that
special. It was
yeah.
absolutely special. Um, I was gonna say earlier was I listened to this interview yesterday with Kevin Hart. He's talking to Taylor Rooks, and he was talking about she had mentioned something about gatekeepers, right? Remember Cat Williams may have said something on Shannon Sharp's Club Shay Shay about, the gatekeepers, they don't let everybody in, right? Um, but then Kevin Hart had a whole take on gatekeepers, and he was like, well, it's a business, right? It's a business, and they want to invest in something that's going to have a return. And he goes, just like with my business, he's like, in order for me to invest in something, I need to know what have you done to create this thing, right?
Right.
And he started throwing out a bunch of different names of young people who've been shooting their little, their sketches, right? Who've created a following. He's like, they've created something and they come to me, they can show me what they've done. Prime example, I produce my own special. I've created a following. I've been hitting the podcast. I have this many followers on this platform. I got this many followers on this platform. Now for the next thing, I'm going to need to get paid. So now when
Yeah.
you go to someone else, you can show them the work that you've done. And this is literally what he was just talking about yesterday. He's like the gatekeepers for the most part, whoever they are, right? He's like, they just want to see a return on their investment, just like anybody else. But you
Right.
have to show them what you bring to the table. If you can do that, then that gatekeeper thing is out the window. It's like, there's no gatekeepers. It's just you show them that you do the work. And that's what you're doing right now, right?
Right.
Like this is the beginning stages of avoiding or sidestepping or bypassing the idea of gatekeepers. It's like you're creating your own.
It's
your
DIY.
space.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean it used to be, you know, I mean, I've been at stand-up for a long time. So it's like I remember it's like you go in with the thought of like, yeah, somebody does pick you out and then they offer you the world. And then
Right.
you just all you got to do is create. But that time is long gone.
Mhm.
And so now it's like there's still people holding on to that, and it's like nothing's gonna happen. But then it's
Right.
like with the young people or the new people coming up, like even though like a lot of the stuff is like just crowd work stuff, they've leveled up the quality of like the content and how it looks. So
Right.
it's like you can't watch somebody's like skit on like Instagram and not tell that it's shot in the same studio as some of the movies, like
Right.
because
Right.
like, you know, and so like that has helped, you know, because it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's how I was able to put this special out. And it's like, if you know, if we threw like HBO and Netflix on it, like nobody would know that it wasn't shot that way, you know.
Right. Right.
But it's
How
just,
many
you know,
cameras did you use?
3.
so
Oh, no.
let's see.
I know
Well, there's the
one right
one on the
behind you.
stage too.
Yeah,
There's
we
one
had
behind you.
There's at
yeah,
least
so
4.
we had there were so there were 5 cameras. There was actually 6 cameras.
Oh
Okay.
shit. Okay.
But one of them was mine. And so the only part that mine was really used is like on the walk up, or like I did a teaser where it shows a
Okay.
little more. But you know, we had it there for like coverage. And so what I basically, you know, what we decided was that to have like 3 definitely stationary, and then 2 that are manned by like Luke and Ben, and then just them to like they know what looks good. So it's like whatever you're thinking. So there's like some shots where they might cut to the crowd, and it's
Right.
like I knew that was okay because we had coverage on the
Right.
other ones.
Right.
And
Right.
then after everything was done,
Right.
then I had to, I don't know if I had to, but I did. I watched like every single hour, like every single camera thing. So it's like there were cuts where it's like it cuts to the crowd, and I knew
Oh,
it
every
cut to the
view.
crowd
You
at
watched
this
every view
second.
from every camera?
I watched every view.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, that had to been fucking excruciating.
You would think, but I didn't hate the set, you know, and because of like what it
That's true. It was a
incorporated,
good
because like
set.
there's so there's a part, you know, when it's like the guy that had sex with the girl, and it's like I knew that I knew the guy was in the crowd. And then what happened is during the show, they were sitting in one place because my best friend was sitting with him, because I'm friends with all of them now. You know, it's like we're grown. Like that stuff is like way long gone.
Okay.
But they had moved them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they were sitting in one place. And then like when I'm doing the joke and I look over, and it's like I'm asking like how young was somebody. And it's like, I know you were young, but I didn't know he was sitting there. So that's like, it's like that reaction is like 100% like real.
Right.
And then it's just funny because they don't know the joke, you know. It's like my
Right.
friends, they came out and saw me, but it's like they don't know it like that. And
Right.
so it's just like I'm about to lay this joke on him, and he knows it from the real point of view of his side of it, but not
Right.
like, you know.
Not from
And so
your
and my
perspective.
best friend is there, and he knows it from my side, even though he's best friends with the other guy too. So it's just like one of those things. It's just like
Nice.
it's funny to watch his reaction
Yeah.
to hearing the other guy hear the joke. You know, it's just all of it is just funny to me.
Oh, dude, it's awesome.
Uh,
Real quick, I just want to say this too. You just said that the idea that someone coming down and touches you and makes it happen, like those days are long gone. You're absolutely correct. Those days are long gone, but you can always find someone who's like, well, yeah, but there was that one person that got seen, and then they got management, then they got a TV show and a sitcom, and they right. And it's always funny because they can always take that one source, right? Everyone's got that one source that happens like
yeah.
every 30 years. You know what I mean? It's like,
You know, it's funny. It's like, but like I've been working with Tim Meadows a lot, and it never ends. Like he still has to do radio, or he still has to do like he's like got to do his little selfie video promoting the show. So it's like a constant thing, and it's a new thing, and everybody. Yeah, it's
hey, dude, it's like Janet
it's annoying.
Jackson.
I hate it, but
Well, it's like Janet Jackson said, "What have you done for me lately?" I mean,
that's all it is.
you-
Yeah, it's a whole
we
new
literally
world.
see it every year when someone wins a championship on some level. Like there was a huge level of excitement, like, yeah, we finally did it. And then literally the next day is like, all right, we gotta start gearing up to try to do it again. It's like you can't
Yeah,
rest on your
yeah,
laurels, right?
yeah.
Like
Right, right,
like it
right.
was a moment, it happened. Now we got to go
Move
back to the
on.
beginning and start all over again.
How long ago from when you recorded and shot it to when it came out? So it just came out this week. How long ago did you record it?
So I recorded it at the end of February.
Wow, that's pretty
Okay.
quick turnaround.
Yeah, I mean, and it took more time because it was all of us, you know, the guys that shot it and me um working together. So we had to work around our schedules. And so they are busy with doing their stuff. I'm busy with doing my stuff. So that's what took longer because I was trying to do like a quick turnaround, you know.
Right.
But then it's like you got to just go with the feel of it because it's like you put it out too quick, then it's like you think about it and you don't get a chance to sit on it to be like, what would I change? Because even the shots of the club, like I really wanted to showcase like not just my stand up, but like the club, like that's my home club, and like I've done so much like comedy work there, like I've really like grown as a comic like through there and the San Francisco Punchline. Like those are the two places that nurtured my comedy the most. So it's like I want to, you know, they're already on the map, but it's like if anybody watches this and they're like, man, where's the, because Sacramento is like a great place to do stand up.
Yeah.
And it has a little bit of everything. Like you can't be left or right. You got to understand like both perspectives because we all grew up and we all live around each other.
Right.
So it's like somebody could think totally different than me, but it's like there's some Sacramento understanding that we all have, regardless
Right.
of, you know, that's your guy, this is my guy. It's like, come, you know, and like the thing I don't understand is like when people, when they like the other person, but they can't understand why you don't like the other person. It's like, come on, man, you know, like, yeah, they're not for me.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
it would be like, and then and you see the people that they're like, oh yeah, I'm for. It's like that person's insane. But
Yep, right. It's like, have you listened to everything they've said, or you just pick out the part you like? What Jay-Z say? He's like, do you listen to the lyrics, or do you just skim through? Right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
was
All
gonna, I
right,
was
so
gonna,
let's start with him growing up, dude.
no, hold on, I want to ask him this real quick.
Okay.
Did you have any moments of, I guess, for lack of better words, moments of perfection where you feel like, like, or even self-consciousness, like, am I ready for this? Or maybe, nah, I want to tweak this. You know what I mean? Sometimes we can over tweak. We can put too much into it when it's like, nah, man, it's good. It's ready to go. Did you have any moments of insecurity? Maybe that's the word I'm looking for. Insecurity about putting it out, or like feeling like it's not ready completely and pushing it too hard. I know you said you wanted to go
Yeah.
quickly, but
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's like there's always things that you're gonna want to change a little bit.
right.
And so I tried to massage that, or like, hey, I might make a change and then like go back and like, okay, well, let's leave like some of that in. Like there's a few pauses where it's like I could have took it out, but like I want to get authentic, like I want to have an authentic representation of myself. And so it's like sometimes it's like when you're in the show, you know what's needed, that's what you're doing.
Right.
But when you edit things down, like that's why it's like some specials, it's like they're funny, but you don't get a feel of like you're not in it with them. And it's because they take all the stuff that would put you in it and like that's edited out, you know?
Yeah. And I'm glad you left those pauses. The pauses were real. They showed, for me, they just showed a level of comfort, right? Like, and not rushing and not feeling like you have to feel every single moment of air with something. Like there is something settling about like, yo, I did a thing, and then all right, well, all right, let's get on to the next thing. Like it feels real, right? Like it's, you know, like I said, I've been watching stand-up, and I mean, how old are you, Chazz?
My LA age or my actual
You hear that, folks? Because there's really two. There are two ages, right?
Yeah.
What are you? I'm gonna guess. You're like, at this point, you got two kids. You're married. We're gonna say 36, 35.
That's what I would guess.
I turned 40, so I was 30.
Young looking motherfucker, dude.
I was 39 when I shot it.
Yes, there you go.
Wow.
You had a joke about that, you never said your age.
Yeah.
About, right, being.
And normally I wouldn't. I thought about it as like, if they ask me, I'm just gonna like Make some shit up.
Yo, bro.
But it's like, yeah, I don't, yeah.
Look, I'm gonna tell you right now, this year I turned 50, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 50. And yeah,
No,
I
I
know
mean,
it's
it's like you see somebody, it's like, we've known each other for
No,
like,
we
I
all
don't know,
look pretty
15,
good.
20
I
years.
think. Yeah, we've known
Yeah.
each other a long time, man.
So my thing is, man, I'm like, own it, bro. Own every
Yeah.
moment of it because you look great. You're young, you're energetic, right? Like age is, I think you will look how you feel, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
there's nothing about you that says that you're, tired or old. Like I remember growing up and thinking about 50, like the 50-olds when I was a kid.
Oh, old. Old.
Dude, they was
Yeah.
Well, you ever see
broke
though?
down, bro. Like,
I mean,
they
I don't
was
know
broke
about
down.
like if Reggie and I go
So-
back to Alabama or Ohio, we see someone our age, we're like, God damn.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
I see. Yeah, I go back and I see friends that I went to high school with that are the same age as me, and I go, man, this dude is like at least 15 years older than me, like 10 to 15 years older than me. This is crazy. So, but the point being, I was gonna say the reason I asked your age is because I was gonna say, man, I have been watching stand up way before, like before you even born. I could almost legitimately say that, like right at the beginning, you just entered the world. And I was already watching it. And those pregnant pauses or those moments, they really do lend, like you said, they lend to the authenticity of like the realness of it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so I'm glad you left those in. I'm really glad you left those in. So
Hey, how long ago since when you booked the night to do it until you did it? Like, did you have to like prep? Like that had to been kind of nerve-wracking.
Yeah, because I mean, it's
And it's one take.
the having one show and to not knowing how it's gonna sell. Like even a week before, I was worried about how many people were gonna be there. And I think maybe like a couple days before they were like, "Oh, you'll be fine." But even then, it's like, dude, because it's like if I didn't have my people there, it's like with let's say 100 people in the crowd, like I know I could do well. It might not be
Yeah, but
great,
you
but I know
want
I
it
could do well.
packed.
But it's like, but you want it packed, and then it's
Yeah.
like, and then you think about it, like the difference is like if you have, I was gonna say 40, but it's like if you have 20 solid people that love you, that are there in the midst of like 100 people, like you're gonna blow it up because it's just
Right.
like and then like so yeah, I was worried. So I mean I think I had it booked like before the beginning of the year. So it was like I think in November is when I reached out
Okay.
to get a date, and it's like they told me the dates that were available. I took a Sunday just because it's like
Oh, that was a Sunday.
yeah, it was a Sunday.
Okay.
And then just like rolled
Keep
out
going.
ads, hit people up because I
remember
usually
seeing
like with my friends, I always let them know. It's like, yo, if I'm doing a show, you want to come through, just let me know. But I usually don't like press them super hard because it's
Right.
like because I knew eventually I was gonna have an important show where I want everybody to come to, and I don't want to have
This is
them
it.
like fatigued and then not
Right.
come out. It's like, yo, this is the
Yeah.
one. I know I always
Yeah.
say like this is the one that I need you at,
Yeah.
Um
Let me say this real quick. It was funny. You're like, because you talked about it. You mentioned it, right? You're like, yeah. Would you? It's like, yeah, I'm gonna buy 2 tickets, but I'm gonna need 18 comps,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Or something like that, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
I want to ask you this: how many times did you? Because you knew you was only gonna do this one take hove, and I keep throwing the Jay-Z references in there because whatever. But how many times did you run the set before, or was this kind of your normal set and you've been working this, or did you have like this particular hour? You're like, I want to work this hour, and so you're trying to, was it that, or was it like it's a collection of jokes that you've been doing for a long time, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna put these together.
So it's a mixture of both. So it was I've been like featuring a lot, so it's like you get 25-30 minutes, and so it's like if I could do 2 different feature sets, that's pretty much an hour. Now since I like the whole point, because to me it's like a comedy special is an hour. I know things have
Yeah.
changed, but it's like
Right.
in my head it's still like you want to do the hour. So I was like, I will, like I had to structure everything in the way that would work for me. So I was like, what I'll do is I'll go up and I'll do 45, and then I'll come off stage so I can get like 2 endings. And then I was like, and then I'll go back up there and do like another 30.
Okay.
Now I have never done over an hour. Like, it's like
Bruh.
It's hard. It's hard to get that time unless you're headlining.
Yeah. So
Right.
it's like I've had like, where I'm supposed to do 45 and I'm doing like 55 and things like that. But it's like I've never actually done an hour. But to me, it's like the hardest jump was like from nothing to like 20. That was harder than like 20 to 30 and then like 30 to
Yeah.
45. Like
Right.
those are all like, and when you're doing 45, it's like it's pretty much an hour. You maybe tell another story and then add a little more personality,
Yeah.
and then you have an hour. So
We know that
with
you. Oh, go ahead. I'm
I was
sorry.
gonna say so with that show, it's like I think I did like an hour and 20
Okay.
with that
Wow.
break. And then and then I just cut it down. I just cut it down to an hour, and I think it's like an hour 4 hour.
Hour 6, 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I used to do when I headlined, and I I've been doing it. I had done it for a long time, and I had tons of materials, and then I just had stories, right? Like even the one story you told, you like, yeah, I wish I had a punchline for that, but I think the story itself is good enough, right? Right. So, tons of stories. So what I would do is I would do my 45. Like my last headlining week was at the Sacramento Punchline, right?
Okay.
And so I do my 45, and then I would legitimately say to the audience, all right, so hey, I've done my contracted time, right? Like I did the 45 I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
But if you guys are up for it, then let's just have some fun. We can just talk and
What happened? You froze.
tell some stories or whatever.
Oh, there you are.
And usually that part of the show would, what'd you say? Oh, but usually that part of the show, like there's another level where you just settle into yourself. Like you kind of move from the performance part of being up to, and I saw you sitting down a couple of times. I was thinking, oh, I wonder if this is the part where he's like, all right, well, now we can, I've done this time. Was that in the second part of it? Where it's like, all right, let's just talk about some things right now and tell some stories. And I think those parts are really, I think that's really cool too, because you get a chance to see both of them, right? Like the different feel for the performance space. I'm here doing my time. This is what they're paying me to do. And then it's like, all right, now I did. So yeah, man. Right. This is
the comedian
Yeah.
space.
Yeah.
that, right? You get that comedian space in a more freer space. So
All right. So you grew up in Sacramento?
Yeah. So I mean, I was born in Rockford, Illinois, but then moved from the like my parents are from the Midwest, but I moved from the Midwest to Sacramento when I was like 5. So
Okay.
I consider like Sacramento my hometown, even though I was born somewhere else.
You got
that Chi-Town
siblings?
energy though. You got that Chi-Town energy.
Yeah. You got brothers, sisters?
I got an older sister.
Okay. You guys get along?
Yeah, we get along great. We're like a 4-year difference, but like
That's
when you were
perfect.
younger, it's tougher. But then like as you get older, especially like the girl and the boy dynamic, because there's a time where you're the little brother and maybe you cry and she's bigger than you, and then she, and then it's like there's a drastic change. You start growing at a faster rate than she does, and then one day it's like, yo, you can't do that stuff no more.
You
I
can't
mean, if you do
manhandle
it, it's
me.
because I'm allowing you to.
Right.
But even her hearing this, now she's gonna try to like, what's up now?
Challenge you. Oh, that's funny. That's
But nah,
funny.
yeah, my sister's, I'm super
So
close.
let me ask you this. So was there a lot of humor in your house? Like where did the humor gene come from, or where did you find the desire to, to be comedic, or like was your dad funny? Was there an uncle? Did you watch a lot of comedies as a kid? Like what sparked that thing?
I mean, both of my parents are funny. They're funny in like different ways, but it's like they're both very smart, but they're also like silly. So
Okay.
it just, and like growing up, I did always watch stand up. I never knew I was going to be a comedian though, because I just felt like they didn't make any money, and I didn't know how to, I didn't know how to like how you would even start something like that. But it was the one thing that like my parents, they didn't really filtered. They never filtered comedy. So it's like, you're watching HBO or it's like someone comes on and it's like nudity, you gotta turn it off. But it's like I remember like watching Delirious and things like that. And it's just like there's things where Eddie Murphy's talking about, and it's like I'm a kid, so it just goes over my head. I don't know it. But the other stuff is funny. And
Right.
like we would always just watch a lot of comedy together. And I just always
Wow.
kept that bug. So like
So your parents watched Delirious with you?
they might have, it's like, I mean, they watched it when it first came out, but it's like
Right.
reruns and stuff like that. It's
Yeah.
like I watched it. They didn't watch Raw with me.
Sit down, son. There's the new Murphy special.
Yeah, Raw is a little different. I mean, I think, yeah, it doesn't matter.
No,
but go ahead.
no,
I was just gonna say, I think
yeah.
in Delirious for me, there's probably the 10 of the funniest minutes.
Oh
in
yeah, that
stand-up.
barbecue.
Oh yeah, the family.
The barbecue is one of the best 10 minutes in comedy, I feel.
Dude, it's like I would put that against anybody. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of those
Yeah.
specials now don't stand up, right? Like time wise, references to the Honeymooners and Ralph Crandom and Mr.
Right.
T, and whatever. Say what, like that stuff. But that family stuff is timeless, bro. Like you
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah.
No one can.
I like
deny
it. He's
that.
like, Charlie, come here. He calls out
Roll
his
Charlie
brother.
around.
And if you ever watch it, special again, like that's like the closer. And then like he kind of rambles the next 10 minutes. He talk about Poltergeist and Reagan, but that's kind of where it ends, really.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
interesting because he was so young at that time.
21.
Yeah.
21.
And
So-
there's sorry, but it's like there's like sets of Eddie Murphy online when he's like 17, like headlining,
Yeah.
and it's just like when you watch it, it's like times are different, but it's like, yo, this is crazy, like
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
do like an hour and be like 17 years old is like
Yeah.
I started before I could drink. I think I was like 20, but then it's like from all the comics that I followed, I felt like I'm behind the game because like
Right.
Eddie Murphy had this and Chris Rock had this and Chappelle had this,
Right,
and it's
right,
like
right.
that was before I even started,
Yeah, but those guys are
Right.
anomalies, man.
Yeah, yeah.
They are
Especially
anomalies.
like Eddie, everyone liked just the way he delivered lines. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like
I mean-
I was just telling someone the other day about Shrek, and they're like, Donkey. Like you could just watch a movie for Donkey
Yeah.
alone. He's so goddamn good in it,
But you know what? I think, and we'll go back to Chazz, but I just want to say, I think that for Eddie was in the Goldilocks spot where Richard Pryor was getting older, Bill Cosby was transitioning,
True.
and there was
they needed a new
there was a
yeah.
void, right?
Yeah,
There
someone
was a
new.
void, and he showed up, and he was funny. He had characters, and
He
he was
saved
heavily
Saturday
influenced-
Night Live.
Yeah, and he was heavily influenced by both of them on some levels. So
Right.
so I think for audiences, they could see a little bit of Richard Pryor in him, and they could see a little bit of Bill Cosby in him. And he was young, and he was funny, and handsome. It was like
Yeah.
there was a vacuum, right? And he kind of filled that void immediately. Now Dave Chappelle, that's a whole nother story. This dude is at 14 years old, got his mom taking him to comedy clubs. Yo, that's crazy. What happened in your life to make you want to be a comedian at 14? Right? Like, what kind of trauma did you experience that you're like, I gotta go I want to go see this shit. I need some stuff I gotta talk about, get off my chest. But okay, so you would watch specials with your family, and I love the fact that your parents weren't filtering, right? Like they
Yeah.
were allowing
Yeah, that's
you to see
crazy. I mean,
things.
my
Yeah.
mom just yelled at me this week for saying F and God in the same sentence. I don't even know what fucking goddamn bitch she was talking about.
Oh, I mean, I've never. I mean, other than like at the show stand up, I would never cuss in front of my parents. Like,
Wow.
Yeah, me neither.
yeah, like
What,
even,
now you grew up religious? What is this shit?
yeah. I
What you
mean,
mean?
yeah. I grew up. I'm black, man. I grew up.
Hell yeah. Yo, Sal, that might be like the whitest thing you ever said. Because I'm like, yo, black people, cussing in front of the family. It's like, look, outside the house,
Yeah.
you say whatever you want to say, but in front of your mom or your dad, you ain't gonna be like, man, fuck that.
No, but now,
Yeah. But
now?
even like no, I mean even now it's like they know in the aspects of a show that they might hear something, but I'm never gonna be like fucking or whatever. Even with my sister, and it's like she's my sister, but it's like she's too close to them.
Yeah, man.
It's
Yeah,
like-
I don't know. I don't know.
Honestly-
Where's your rebellious spirit, fellas?
I'm gonna tell you right now, man, there are enough words that you can say that you don't have to curse in front of your parents, man. Like, that's not, look, I have a son, and And I don't want him to ever be in the house and be like, yeah, this shit at work is crazy. Like, wait, slow down. Like, nah, we ain't doing that, right? Like,
so wait, is your family still really? You grew up religious, like Baptist? Is that what?
Not Baptist. It's like non-denominational, but it's church is definitely important. God is
Were
important.
they strict?
They were. My parents are cool, man. Like not like they weren't strict, but they and I kind of hint on it a little bit in the special, but it's like my parents, they were always honest with us. So it's like
That's cool.
they, like some people are like, they're religious and they're just like they never did anything bad in their whole life. And then their kids have all these problems because they don't know that there's somebody this close to them that's like, you make mistakes and then you figure it out. And that's just how life works. And so my parents were always like honest with us about stuff like that. And it's like, you don't want to do this because of this. And I know because I did that. So you want to stay away from that stuff. And it's like, now if you go into that, they still love you. They're still going to work with you and whatever, figure it out. But at the same time, it's like, I can only tell you this so that I'm trying to prevent this from happening to you. And I mean, that's what I try to do, for my kids. I mean, they're super little now, but just kind of that same like modeling, there's like, I'm always going to love you, but I will try to help you so that you don't have to go through the things that I went through,
Right.
Wow, that's really cool, man, that your parents were open and honest with you guys in that way.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously comedy was accepted in the house on a lot of levels and you guys got to watch it together. When did you first discover that you were actually funny? And then let's talk about that one, and then
we'll how you get towards stand-up.
Then how you how do you take that first leap of faith?
So I was like, I wasn't the class clown, but I was always funny to my friends, and so it's like, and it's like these like little quiet burns, where it's like you don't have to be like the life of the party, but it's like you say like one sentence and it's like it's just funny to everybody, and they bust out laughing. And so it was just like a little bit of that, but because I had friends when I was coming up that were like, you should do stand up, and I was just like, nah, like I love it, I watch it, but like that's not. I have no idea, because it's like a lot of those guys are crazy. That's what I would think, and it's like that is true. We know that from being
100%.
Those guys are insane. Because it's like
crazy and not much money.
Yeah,
let's get into that.
A little bit depressed and maybe filled with anxiety and social disorders and can't get along, can't maintain relationship, alcoholics, drug addicts, right, sex addicts. The comedians, hey man. Yeah, comedians, I love them, but at the same time, I go, man, some damaged motherfuckers.
Yeah. Some of the smartest people ever, but also like fall into the craziest scenarios. Like you hear something that's crazy, and it's like, oh, he's a comic. It's like, all right, I can see how.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
He was on the road too long. I see how
he's out there by himself, man. It's not good. So, okay, so you were funny amongst your friends, and your friends were like, you should do stand up, and you're like, nah, that ain't for me.
Yeah, I was like, nah. And then around the senior year, they had a senior project, and so you had to like learn something or do something, and I wanted to do stand up, but you had to find a mentor, and it's like, dude, how am I going to find a mentor? Because all the comics I were watching were like big name comics, HBO specials and things like that. It was like before, like you could just go on YouTube and kind of check anybody out, and so it's like, I'm going to go to this local comedy club to this guy that is not famous and then ask him to be my man. I don't want to be like him, so it's like, so I just ended up playing the piano for my senior project, because I was just
like, well, that's cool. You can play the piano, so you got that.
I could only play it for that one performance, and then it's just like, funny. And like what was crazy about that is like, so I do my senior project, and it's like I have all this history of the piano, so I'm talking about all this old stuff and whatever period of time, and so then I go up and I play, like, I think I play "Lean on Me." It's like the easiest nice. Piano song, and then like the girl that goes behind me, because everybody who was doing the piano had to do it in one room, because
I can't move it around. Yeah.
The girl that goes behind me, and so like when I'm playing the piano, I'm making all these excuses, like this piano's old, so it's like it's not sounding all the way right because it's like the keys are not hitting right. And so this girl goes behind me, and she had been playing the piano since she was like 4 years old.
Oh
And
man,
it just sounds like Beethoven's like best work. It's like
her fingers are like this.
yeah, she's not even looking. She didn't know shit about the history of the piano, but she was just killing it. And so it's like, I'm like, dude, I'm about to not graduate because I went behind this prodigy. But they had already gave me the grade, so they couldn't take it away.
There you go. Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. All right, so when does how do you venture up on stage, man? Or
So
how'd you
one of
get
my
to-
one of my other friends, he does stand up. It's actually the dude that was at the show that had sex with the girl. He does stand up.
Oh
Still?
wow.
Well, no, he did stand up for the senior project.
Oh,
And he was funny too. And so he did stand up, and like you just start hearing about everybody in school talking about like, oh man, I saw like he did stand up and he was like killing, and it's just like the people talking about that, and it's like, man, I because I knew I wanted to do that, but I just was like, I didn't want to find a mentor. So then I was like, you know what, like after I get out of high school, like I'm a go maybe a couple times and just check it out at whatever comedy club, and then I'll try my hand at it. And so that's what I did. I think I waited like a year. So I think I was like 19 or 20, and then that I did my I went to the comedy club in Old Sacramento and watched and watched a couple times, and then yeah, this is all like crazy because it's all
I
interconnected.
like how you didn't say the name of that spot too.
Yeah, I was gonna say it.
Look at that. Allegiance to his special.
Hey, smart man. This dude is smart. I'm telling you,
man,
bro.
fuck that. So I went to Laughs Unlimited. It's in Old Sac,
Oh.
and like but what happened is, so my friend that took me, he is the friend that said that I was gonna get the girl pregnant. So it's like all this stuff is like interconnected, you know. It's just like this crazy thing. So he takes me to the first time, and so I go and I watch, and then we go back like the next week or the week after, my friend Paul, and then it's like, you know, he's just like, all right, man, just do whatever you got to do. Whatever happens, what's gonna happen. And so then it's like I did it the first time, and I went up there and just forgot everything that I had kind of wrote out, and just but I winged it, and it didn't go terrible, you know.
Okay.
And so then the bug was there after that, you know. And it's like I knew the work, you know, I knew all the specials that I already liked, and all the, you know, all the comics. So it's just like I knew it took work, and so it's just like coming back and writing and trying stuff out.
Let me ask you this: when you went to go watch the comedians live, at any point where you're watching them, did you feel like, oh man, I could do this? Like, they don't even look that hard.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's like, you know, and it's like we get in this thing where we're like in competition with each other or around other comics. And for me, it's like my competition was never the comics that are around me. My competition is like, I'm trying to be peers with the people that I watch on TV. So it's like, even, you know, it's like I'm writing jokes, you know, and I remember I was in like this, because I did like a comedy workshop, which I have different views on that, you know, where it's just kind of like, you know, to each his own.
Right.
But to me, it's like, I can only teach you as good as I am. So like, what if you're supposed to be a better comic than me? Like, I might stifle you.
Right.
So
or I can only teach you up to, it's almost like a grade, right? Like maybe I can only teach up to the 4th or 5th grade. And then after that, then you need to get another teacher to teach you for 6, 7, like middle school, right?
Yeah. So it was like that. So it's like I remember like being in one of those classes, and it was kind of like they were like, you're trying to write headliner jokes, and you are the open micer, you know, whatever. And so it's just like,
oh wait, is that a direct quote? Someone actually said something like that?
Yeah. That's what I was told. It's like you're. It's like, and I get what they're trying to say, but it's just like the way that the message comes out is just like you're trying to write a joke where it's like you're up there for 10 minutes and you're only up there for 2 minutes. That makes sense, but it's still like there's a way to say that, you know. And it's like I do have self-confidence. I do have like, you know, a nice support family system. So it's like I'm not like looking up to motherfuckers to be like, sorry, I don't know if I can curse on here, but
no, you can. It's all
okay.
good.
So it's just like, yeah. So it's like if somebody says something to me, it's like I'm not gonna go home and cry about it. I don't give a shit about what you said.
Right.
So
dude, yo, straight up right now, shout out to your parents for instilling.
Who are listening right now? tagged them in. They heard all your cusses.
Sorry about the MF. You know what I mean?
No, you're all good. But straight up, man, shout out to your parents for instilling that strong sense of self.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of people who would hear that and go, okay, I guess I need to write these types of jokes, right? Whereas you're like, that don't make sense to me. So I understand what you're saying, but I'm gonna go do something else, right?
Yeah, or it's like you could be right, but you could also be wrong. You know, it's just like, yeah.
Hey man, look, Gabriel Iglesias was an opener, and he was so strong that he skipped the feature spot and went straight to headliner. Can you imagine if someone would have told Gabriel Iglesias, yo, man, you're writing headliner jokes, man. You're an opener.
Yeah.
I got that once in SAC too, man. Like your problem is, like you're hosting, but you're like headlining jokes. I'm like, well,
I used to I was selected for NBC Center for Diversity, right? And to do that, the day started off, you had to do one joke, and then you got to come back and do two. I mean, you got to do 1 minute, and then you got to do 2 minutes, and then you came back that night to do 5 minutes, and then they selected people, and then they sent you to LA. And I was one of the people that selected. And I used to always say, people be like, man, 2 minutes. Oh man, I can't do a joke. I got too many jokes I'm trying to do. So instead of them just saying, look, I'm just gonna find one funny 2 minute joke or two funny 1 minute jokes and just do that, people were trying to cram in way too much information in a short period of time. Right.
Yeah.
So I'm of the sense of like, yo, look, if I'm an opener and I'm writing headliner jokes, then let me write the funniest headliner. If I get up there, I got 10 minutes and I do 2 5-minute jokes that are fucking hilarious. Do you think that someone's going to be like, man, you did 10 minutes and you only did 2 jokes. You should have been doing at least a joke a minute, right? Damn that. It's like, you're going to tell Bill Cosby, the old Bill Cosby, not the current Bill Cosby. But you're going to tell the old Bill Cosby, like, your stories are too long, right? Like, you're talking about the dentist for way too long. You're talking about taking your kids swimming for way. It's like, nah, man, let me do my thing, right? Like, funny is funny regardless of what you may think. So props to you for recognizing that and understanding that. And shout out to your parents for raising self-aware and confident individual. That's what I'm trying to do.
That's tough in stand-up too, because
it is.
Yeah, it's always challenge. Where did we first meet you? We met you in San Francisco.
I think it had to be.
Yeah, because I remember you'd always be a group of you SAC guys showing up on a Sunday.
Yeah, I guess it was Sunday nights, huh?
Who would you roll with?
So, I mean, I just being around the scene, I made friends with like Mike Winfield. So he kind of like would vouch for me and like it's like he was already in at that point. But like me and him, I have a cousin and I have like kind of similar relationships with them. They're a little older than me, but it's just like one of those things where like my cousin's a little older than me, but it's like one of those things where just the dynamic of it. So like me and him always been cool. And so he would go down to San Francisco and he's like, yo, if you want to roll, you could roll. So I would just go and hang out. And then, they have that kind of waiting time to try to get up on the Sunday show.
Yeah.
Now I did I still waited, but I kind of circumvented that time because they had, I think it might have been the same thing. It was like either a stand up for diversity or I think it might have been like a live at Gotham, like audition type thing. It was something. And it's like, I got the call back. So if you got the call back, you got to perform that night on the Sunday show. So I think that was the first time I actually got up, which was quicker than waiting. Even though I was going on Sundays, I wouldn't go every Sunday because it's, it's an 1.5-hour drive, but it's like, I would go occasionally. And then since I got up on that Sunday, and it's like, I didn't get the thing, but it's like, I at least got to get on that stage and they saw, it's like, I did all right, so then it's like, from there, it just kind of helped fuel, like letting me get on and then work other, like get other work in San Francisco. I'd like hit up other mics and, relationships with comics.
Well, you had a credit, you had credibility at that point, right? Like somebody else has selected this guy to do a thing. Cause I'm sure there are people, there are people sitting in the back of the room that didn't.
And they weren't happy about that, because like they didn't know who the hell I was, but it's like, whatever. It's like I didn't get the thing, just like you didn't get the thing. It just I more felt like I was gonna get it, and I still didn't get it. So
Yeah. And that's showbiz, man. Everything's
Yeah, that's
nothing's. There's no
I mean,
fairness or rules.
look, I give a lot of props to Sal, because a lot of the, I've been really fortunate within my comedy career, and a lot of times I got to give props to Sal, because Sal was the one who was like, "Yo, man, you doing the thing?" I'm like, "Nah, I wasn't." He's like, "Yo, you got to go do the thing," and I go, "All right," and then I go do it, and it works out, and I go, "Thanks, Sal."
It's like, you're like sitting there and you're like, oh man, I'm really trying to get into the game. And then you got the star athlete sitting over there having no idea what time the game starts. I'm like, motherfucking get in the game. And then he finally gets to the game,
like,
but
I'm over to the side like, "Oh, we play today?"
he
Oh,
should have,
okay.
man.
Still get in there. Like, "All right, coach."
Yeah.
So
In there and score 30.
Yeah, exactly. Like, damn, this dude just woke up out of bed, dropped 30, didn't even know the game was today. Right.
But I think my friendship with Reggie helped too, then, because like, we're all cool with a lot of people. And yeah, no, it's I think a lot of it matters is just being cool. And if you're cool, and then like even down here, if I drop Reggie's name, if I'm in Sac and I drop Chazz's name, and people know you, they're gonna be like, oh, okay, good people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, your name definitely precedes you. I gotta ask you this, man, and this gonna sound crazy or random, but where did your family find the name Chazz with 2 Z's, bro? I mean, like,
that's a good question, actually.
Yeah, is it a reference to something African or something like Native American? I don't know where it's from, bro.
Nah,
Like,
I mean, so the only people, I mean, there might be more, but it's like Chazz Palminteri. His name is with 2 Z's also, but that's not where my name comes from.
Oh, yeah.
But
Chazz Palminteri, I don't know who that
Yeah,
is.
he's the guy,
Bronx Tale.
Bronx Tale, baby.
Oh, okay,
He did the play, and then De Niro did it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not 2 Z's, but I know Chaz Chandler was the basis of the Animals who discovered Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, okay.
So there's that nugget.
So I mean, my dad's name is Charles, and my grandfather's name is Charles, and then my dad has he has a half brother, and his name was Charles also. So my mom was like, "I'm not naming you Charles,
Good for her.
but I want you to have like kind of." And Chaz is like a nickname for Charles. It's one of the nicknames. And so, but my aunt actually came up with the name. My Aunt Daisy, she came up with the name and told my mom. And so my mom was like, I don't want it with 1 Z. I want to add another one. So it's like a full name. People don't think it's a nickname.
That's smart.
That's smart. Yeah. And it's a great name, bro. Like I look at that name and I go, yo, it stands out, because you don't hear it often, and you don't see names spelled like that. Like, you literally got the last letters of the alphabet in your name twice.
And then like, so crazy thing is, like, in high school, I was one of 3 Chazzes.
Not with 2 Z's though.
No, I was only one with 2 Z's, but like one of my friends from high school, he came to the show. His name is Chazz, and then there was another Chazz. It's like I know I have been in the same district like since elementary, so everybody knew me, but it's like I didn't know of the other Chazzes. And then in high school, it's like crazy, because like how is there that name? How does anybody else have that name? But there was 3 of us.
Man, look, I think that's serendipitous. That just means you was in the right place at the right time, and your mom picked the right name, and that's just what it is. But it's a cool name, man.
This is funny. I just looked up Chazz Palminteri. His came from Colodro Lorenzo Palminteri, so that's where you got Chazz. And that's funny. That's my grandfather's name was Colodro, which is the name of the character in A Bronx Tale.
Does that like equate to Charles?
That's a very good question. I'm not really sure. Colodro, because my grandpa's Colodro, but then they named their 3rd kid Charles. So I don't know.
Yeah,
the Italians must like it or something.
All right, cool. So you start stand up and you get a couple spots, and before you know it, and I want to ask you this, because you make a name for yourself, or at least you get established in Sacramento and San Francisco, and you talked about this in the special, and you moved to LA. Was that that was you saying, all right, look, I've done the thing here, now it's time to chase the dream, baby?
Yeah.
Right?
It's like, you get, and not like I was, the one name in Sacramento, but it's like you
Right.
get to a certain point, it's like you can only go so far staying here. So you
Right.
want to try your hand in the big leagues, so it's like you
Right.
got to go to either LA or New York. And so I saved up some money and like cashed in some like
Stock
401k
options.
stuff like that, that I had from
What?
from
Oh,
working. And so it's just like I'm gonna move down to LA. Yeah. So I had like a studio apartment and just
What
like
year was this?
this was 2012 that I moved down there.
Okay.
Yeah, I was
wow,
there
you
for
went
like
early.
He
yeah.
was down here before me. That's funny.
Yeah, you went early. When did you start stand up in Sacramento?
I started I think like I don't know exactly. I feel like either 2004 or 2000.
Okay.
Okay, so you had a good,
Yeah.
Yeah.
7 years, 6 or 7 years or so. 8
All right,
years.
so you go to LA, the studio apartment. Where
Yes, I
at
go to
here? Where in LA?
No, he already Koreatown.
Koreatown.
Koreatown. Okay.
That's where
Up
my
and
buddy
down
used to live
Koreatown.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the thing is like I didn't want to have a roommate, so I planned all this stuff out. So it's like I'm gonna get a studio apartment, and then I'm just gonna like make it happen. And so I went down there and I had like a job, and it was all right, but I wasn't making enough money. Like I was just making enough for rent, but it's like not enough to like I definitely didn't have the LA experience that everybody else had where it's just like, oh, they're going out and partying. It's like, no, bro, I was eating like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and thankful for some black beans. It's like I would go up the street, and so
You was down in LA just living. You weren't
yeah.
even like you just moved there, not even doing the comedy. Like now you get the chance to do.
Yeah, and so it's like, I would do spots, and I made like a lot of connections and friends and like stuff that still is like really really cool with like the friends that I have down there. But it just was I wasn't making enough money. So then I switched jobs and started working at the post office. And then that job was like they would work you like 10-12 hour days. So it's like by the time and like when you do that job, you stink. You from like being out
Walking.
there sweating and walking and all the
It's hot as fuck out here too. Oh,
And
you're
so-
Sacramento.
Yeah,
so
you're
like
a mail carrier.
yeah, so like you couldn't just like go from that job and go do stand up. You got to go home and take a shower. And so if you're working that long, and I was a carrier in Venice. So like to go all the way back to Koreatown, like there I would not be I wasn't able to do stand up at all.
Yeah.
I was making way more money, making money hand over fist. But It's
Right.
like I'm not down here to be a freaking
Mailman.
Postman.
yeah. It's not some like Kevin Costner movie or some shit like that.
Oh shit. Oh my God. Dream deferred. I
Yeah,
can just see
so-
it now. It's like I moved to LA to be a comedian, but now I've been at the post office for 30 years.
And so then from there, then I saved up what I thought was enough, and then I quit that job. And then it's like I'm doing more spots, and like I loved LA, like stand up wise. It's different, it's very different, but it was just like talking to people and understanding like, oh, even if though you want to do stand up, you got to have your hands in other things. You got to
Everything. They
you
got
gotta do
hands in
acting,
everything.
you gotta write, you gotta do it, because it's like anything that catches on, that's gonna help your stand up.
Right.
And so it's like understanding that and just being around people where it's like they're trying to get stuff done,
Right.
that was just like a good thing to be around. So I did love that aspect of it. But when I quit and I started like bleeding through my money, and then since I had a studio, it's like I couldn't really like have a roommate because it's like there's no bed, the bed is the couch.
Right.
And so,
Chazz,
yeah.
you needed a roommate, bro. That
I
was gonna
know.
make your money go twice as long, right?
But I just felt like I never lived with anybody, so it's like I didn't want to involve that, because it's like the people I know are comics, and I already
Right.
think like they're crazy,
right.
and they're like, it's like, dude, I'm gonna have to like be at odds with somebody that I live with. Like I can't do that, which is like, yeah, I had all these ideas of like things I won't do, like
Right.
I'm not gonna Uber, and I'm not gonna do that. And then it's like, yeah, what happens is you run out of money, and then you go back to where you came from.
Yo,
How long did you last?
I was in LA for 3 years, I think.
That long? Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. I mean, once you quit your post office job, though, how long did you last until you had to go back?
With that, I would say probably like 5 or 6 months.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's I mean, I
Yeah.
remember when I had a day job up at SF and I like quit like 3 years in, and I was like 2 years into stand up. I was like, I'm gonna be a comic now.
Yeah.
And I fucking 5, 6 months, my money was out, son. I started catering and shit because I was struggling.
Yeah, I wasn't
Yeah.
I didn't do myself any favors. Like I had a car note, so just like I was paying that and paying the
Mm.
rent, and then like eventually it's just like I didn't have the rent, and just like, or it's like I had the rent, but it's like I had it and then I had nothing else, so then I didn't have it because I'm not gonna give them,
Right.
you know.
Hey, that
So
joke was funny. You're like, I love when you said in the special, you're like, my landlord uh was Latin and she spoke Spanish and I don't speak Spanish. I don't even know how I got the apartment.
yeah.
This is hilarious. And then you're like, it's like what you say, the worst is not being able to pay your no, he said it's bad not being able to pay your rent, but the worst is having to explain it to a 5-year-old
Yeah,
who translates or whatever.
yeah, use your 5-year-old
Like
son
she
as a
was nice,
translator.
but he was an asshole. That shit is funny. I was rolling. Oh man, that is it's not a I want to call it a cautionary tale, but as an adult now, like looking back, would you say, all right, maybe I didn't fully have it figured out. Like maybe I get the roommate that stretches my money out a little bit longer. Maybe I do, like maybe I work at
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
you
I mean,
know,
it's like, you don't want to put all these like, yeah, there are like
limitations.
certain, yeah, these limitations on yourself. Like there are certain things where it's like, yeah, you don't ever want it to get that bad where you're doing that type of stuff.
Right.
But these are things that are like normal, like meaningful jobs that you could do.
Right,
And
right.
it's like you're not like nobody's better than anything. And I didn't think I was better than somebody. It was just
Yeah.
like to me, it's always like a risk thing. Like I'm letting
Okay.
this random person in my car, and then I'm down in LA by myself, and it's just like I didn't seen like too many movies.
Right,
Where
right.
so it's like so yeah, I like thinking about it. I mean, the way it was is like everything worked out the way it's supposed to be, which is how it always is.
Right.
Because when I moved back up to Sacramento, then I started dating like who my wife is now. And like
Your
by the
black
time I
wife.
yeah.
Yeah.
We laugh, but she is actually black. There's just a joke about it. So
Oh, that's right. You said that shit like 3 times. You said it like 4 times. You're like, yes, my black wife. I was like, all right, cool. And then my black wife. I was like, he let everybody know I ain't fucking around. No, but that joke was funny, especially one that she didn't like. So anybody, yo, go check out the special. I'm not trying to throw out any spoilers, but it's funny as hell. Go check out the special. But go ahead.
Yeah, so when I moved back up to Sacramento, then I started dating her, and then by the time, because I was trying to get a state job, so I was like, oh, I get a state job, then I could transfer it back down to LA, and I'll know what type of money I'm gonna make, as opposed to like these jobs where you make enough one month and then the next month you don't.
Right. And
Um,
also the state job, you're gonna be roughly 9 to 5.
right, yeah, so it
Yeah.
won't compete with doing stand up,
Right.
and so
Smart.
then so I went to a couple interviews in LA, didn't get any of them. So then I went back to Sacramento. I was like, well, it's the capital, so I'll be able to get one here. And then by the time I got one and was able to transfer, it was like I was like our relationship was too serious, so I couldn't just leave.
Yeah. And you didn't want to at that point. You're like, no, I'm good here.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
it's just like, but then from there, then you have to navigate because it's almost like, people think that you quit comedy, and it's like, no, you just have to find what your angle is. Because before it was like, you go down to LA and then you make it, but then it's like now you come back, and so then it's like, what do you do? And it's like, okay, well, I should I should work on being a headliner, just being the best, like getting the best like hour that I could get, and then like eventually put an album out or something like that. It's just like it's just a different way. It's like I already know stuff from LA, so I can always use that, and I could always end up going back there if I need to. But like right now, what are you gonna do to make yourself better at stand up, or are you going to quit?
Right. Right.
So
Oh
that
man,
was
that's
yeah, that
yo, man.
was
Props to you though for taking the leap of faith and doing it. I never moved to LA, right? And I mean, I had I had several moments and opportunities and times where throughout my career where something was happening, like, oh, Reggie Steele's got a buzz, right? Like for a lot of people would have been like, now's the time, but I never moved, right? I remember one time, you talk about two different ages. I remember one time I did a set for Nickelodeon, and one of the producers came up to me after my set, and he goes, oh my, he goes, dude, you're hilarious. He goes, where you from? I said, I live up in Oakland, and he goes, move to LA. He's like, move to LA. He's like, you need to be in LA yesterday, right? And I go, oh, okay, thanks, man. I appreciate that. And he goes, how old are you? And at that time, I think I was like 30, I don't know, 35, 36 or something like that. And he goes, don't tell anyone. He's like, no one will never know. He's straight up. At 36, he's like, don't tell anyone. He's like, don't tell anyone. He's like, you're just say you're 29, 28, 29, right?
Yeah.
But he's like, but move to LA yesterday. And that's a producer for a show that I just did that was televised, this whole thing. And even then I was like, and to his face, I was like, oh, okay, thanks, man. I appreciate that. But on the inside, I was like, nah, I ain't moving to LA.
Man, that was the time, Reg. That was the time.
That was one of the times. There was another.
You had allies. You had allies.
I could probably cite two other times where it's like, yo, what are you doing? You just got the
I knew this woman. We did a commercial together up in San Francisco. She did a sketch with some silly sketch where she's talking with a guy and then they turn away and she has a nail in her head. So someone found her, was like, hey, move to LA. She went to LA. She did all right with some TV and stuff, but she was just in the fucking Top Gun movie with Tom Cruise. She's the female pilot. So it's just
nice.
like when she had that backing, you know what I mean? So if things didn't work out, then it kind of helped.
Oh, I got one for you.
Yeah.
I have a friend named Andy Allo. Andy Allo is from Sacramento. She and I did a spec for Round Table Pizza, right? And I don't know, for people who don't know what a spec is basically like for a company that's trying to find a production company to do something for them. In essence, they're like, show us an example of your work, right? So we did a Round Table commercial, which I have a copy of. I've never posted anywhere, but I have it. I have a copy of it. We did the spec together, and the company, it was Trek something. They actually end up getting the contract based off the spec that we did for Round Table. Andy Allo, being based in Sacramento, was a singer and an actress. And she came out to one of my shows in Sacramento, and we hung out for a bit or whatever. And she was like, hey, Reg, I'm moving to LA. You should move to LA, right? She goes, you should move to LA. I go, well, we'll see. She then went on, you can look her up. She went on to perform go on tour with Prince around Europe.
Wow.
And then she ended up becoming an actress. And so she was on, was it the show Chicago Burn or Chicago Fire?
Chicago Fire.
Yeah.
She's a fire chief on there. And she's also on the Hulu show Upload, which is going into its like 4th season or something like that. And now she's doing some chef stuff. But point being, she was Sacramento-based person who was like I'm going to LA and I'm gonna try to make it happen. And she made it happen. So all I'm trying to say is, regardless of whether or not it happened or didn't happen or whatever the case may be, the fact that you saved up some money, that you packed up your things, you went down and you did the thing and you tried to do the thing or whatever the case may be, props to you 100%, right? Because that's way more than a lot of people ever do.
I mean, and also props on this special, like getting it done, making it look pro, like just knocking it out and getting something that you're happy with. You know what I mean? And that crowd was hot. Like, let me ask you this: how much it cost to do all this? Yeah, I mean, probably not too bad because you knew the guy was a cameraman. You got to pay him.
Yeah. So it's like I gotta pay. I paid them, and then just like the stuff with the venue, it's like I had a built-in relationship with the punchline.
Yeah, cool,
but it's like I did account for if nobody shows up and I gotta pay for the room,
Well, hold up. Before you say anything, I don't know if he should say how much he paid, Sal, because he might have got a deal, right? And
well, no, you don't have to tell me break it down. I'm just saying the whole thing overall. How much of your own money? Like
a $2,000 ballpark figure, just a ballpark figure.
Yesterday's price is not today's price.
There you go.
Well, we'd say north or south of 5 G's, let's say.
a little north. And
Okay.
like, but what ended up happening, I mean, with a lot of stuff, like I was saying, like with my camera and the lenses, is like all that stuff. It's like I would buy stuff, but it's like I would use comedy money to buy it. So it's like I didn't really consider that a cost, because it's like I'm doing these spots and then I use that for that,
Nice.
Right.
Reinvesting. Yeah.
Who
So-
edited it? Did you edit it, or did you have someone edit it and you had to agree on the cuts?
So one of the guys that filmed it, Luke Sowen, he me and him together, like he did most of the editing, but it was just like he would go and like, okay, I'm gonna cut out some of the pauses or whatever, and then I would, and I watched the special, so it was like, I need to move this joke around, I need to cut this part, I want this to stop here, let's switch to this. Like I said, I knew all the camera angles. I was like on some, like, because I directed it basically, so not basically, I directed it.
Yeah, you directed. At least that's what it said in the credits.
yeah, I directed it. I said where all the cameras are going to be. I went through every single camera angle. And so whenever it shoots to the crowd, it's like, just know it's like, that's from me watching that hour and going, okay, this mark here, this mark here. And then like, we're going to move to this shot. We're going to move to this shot. And then,
do certain punchlines hit better if you cut it a certain way, or when you edit it, like edit it now when he delivers?
For me, it's like you want to kind of have, like, once you start working it, you get kind of a rhythm with it, but you don't want to do the same shot all the time. Exactly.
Right.
So it's like there are some times where it's like big laughs, and so then you want to cut to that angle that Reggie was talking about, because to me it's like, yeah, that is the quintessential angle of that room, where it's like you're in the corner, you can see the comedian on stage, you can see the crowd is packed, you can see like depth because it goes all the way, you can almost see outside of the club. It's just like a very cool shot. So it's like there are times where it's like you want to cut to that when it's a big laugh, because then you could just see everything that's involved. And then there's other times where it's like maybe you're telling a story and you're just getting into it, and so you want to kind of pan in, because even if it's a little pan, it brings the audience eyes in, and it's just like it's just like, for me, like I mean, I watch a ton of stand-up, but I also just watch movies in general. I'm like a huge movie buff, so it's like just trying to capture all these things that will make it stand out, and like, trying to do it in the right way, so that it's like I'm happy with it, and just like that it invokes, like I wanted somebody to be able to watch the special and turn like the lights off in their house and feel like they're at the comedy club.
Right.
Yeah, beautiful. Right. You captured that, man.
You did that.
You captured that.
Hey man, I'm just gonna go ahead and throw it out there. Based on what I've seen and based on what you're saying, I think you can probably throw your hat in the ring for the option of being a director, right? I think that you could direct other people's specials, especially with the vision that you have, right? And your ability to see, being a stand-up, right? Being a stand-up, having three perspectives: the perspective of a director, the perspective of the comedian, and the perspective of an audience member, because you've been all of those, right? You grew up.
You can tell you've put in the thought too, man. You really thought this out.
You grew up being a spectator, and then you actually got into the arena and did the thing, and now you have another perspective on the outside as having been both. So I look, man, I think you should. Now, I'm not gonna say what you should and shouldn't do, but I would just say that I wouldn't be afraid if someone were to ask, like, yo, man, like, yeah, okay, I can direct that. Right.
Yeah. Because even, I mean, and like I said, like I wanted to be involved in everything, because even if I have somebody else doing it, you want it, like, you're going through it, so you should know how to do it, And so like when I we had the lighting, because Vin, he's one of the other guys that shot. He's a cinematographer, and so he's very like great at lighting. And so we had the lighting sources, and he's like, you should put one here, you should put one here, put one
had
above.
The one above you too.
And so, and then from there, it's like we would turn it up, and then I would go and I would sit in the audience and look at it and be like, oh, that's too bright. It'll throw people off during the show. So I don't want, we need to tune it down a little bit.
Right.
So that we can still get it on camera, but at the same time, it's not like blinding to the person sitting in the crowd, or else they'll get out of the show.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
So just like me doing, kind of going around and doing all that. And I do plan on, like, because I do have all this footage from me shooting that stuff. So the plan, I mean, depending on how busy I get, but I do plan on doing like kind of like a mini series
Oh,
about
okay.
it, just to
Okay.
kind of show like the aspects of like running through, like putting the hour out, like getting everything together, and
Yeah.
just my thought process behind it, because it was, I did put a lot of thought into it, and because it's like this is my one thing, so I didn't want to
Right.
like not do it justice. So
Right. Um, and this will be the last thing I'll say, and I'll let you go. But or we'll let you go. But have you thought about taking some of the footage that you didn't use and editing it down to like be snippets for previews? Like, oh yeah, here's a something. Go check out the special, because how sometimes you'll see a movie, like you may see a trailer or a preview of a movie, and you'll see scenes in the trailer that are great, and then you go to the movie, you go, oh, I didn't see that.
yeah,
It wasn't in the movie, but it was still good, right? Like it added to it.
yeah.
Have you thought about using some of that, like some of the footage that's not in it, or maybe even some of the footage that's in it to make, the little
Yeah, you're
Instagram
doing that
clips?
like social media little
That social media thing
clips
where it's like,
now.
oh, here, I'll release something every 3 days or whatever it is.
Yeah, so now it's like, and it's kind of, I don't know how many parts it is, but I break it down into like, there's stuff you do like prep work prior to shooting the special, then while you shoot it, and then like after, it comes out. And so now it's like I'm going through and like gonna like clip like some of the jokes that are within the special, but then also like the part that's at the very end of the special,
Yeah.
like that I kind of put after the
The
credits.
credits. Yeah.
Yeah, at first they're like, I don't know how you can use that, and so just me milling over like, how can I incorporate this, because it's important. And it was so funny, to the people in the room that night.
Yeah.
When the
And
guy
it's
was
like,
hugging you, would it let go?
yeah,
Yeah.
and so
Like,
that was
nigga, let
after,
me go.
that was after the first part. And so but it's like, people have this pressure, you're shooting a special, so you're not really gonna say what you're thinking, but it's like, I had already planned that out, where I was like, if I do 45 and it's cool, like I'm happy with a 45-minute special, but
Yeah.
then that other time I could just do whatever the hell I want. So then when I go back up there, that's why I'm like, yo, I'm gonna say this shit, because I was thinking it,
Right.
and I
Right.
wouldn't say it in the first 45, but like, yo, now we're in like my time, so it's like,
Right.
I'm gonna call him out for doing that. It's like, dude,
Yeah.
what do you?
It's like,
And
yo,
like, I'm cool with him, like
right.
we're friends and stuff like that, but it's just like, in the moment, like, what do you think is about to happen right now? We're not about to have a conversation. I'm trying to,
Yeah,
Yeah, like I'm
get
doing a
off.
thing, bro. Like I'm in the middle of something.
Yeah.
Yo, man, that was great, bro. It was
So are
great.
you
And
available? You might be available in the future to direct other people's specials. Is that what you're saying here?
Yeah, of course, man. At cost.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say,
what's the
Hey,
going rate?
he just said it. Yesterday's price is not today's price,
Yeah.
huh?
Depends on the
So-
day. I'm like an airline, you can catch me on a Tuesday or something.
That's funny, dude.
Oh, that's awesome.
I was
Hey, man, the
watching
Jay-Z,
this.
the Jay-Z point, yo. I sound just like that joint. Yo, man, I don't want to I don't want to throw out your whole special, because I want people to go check it out. It's funny, but yo, man, I was really pleased. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it was really great, man. And to hear the amount of work that you put in the prep, right, the
Yeah,
learning, taking the time to figure things out, and the hands-on with curtains and lighting and directing and cameras and lenses and editing. I think it's a testament to you, man. I think it's a testament to your perseverance and your hard work and your dedication to the craft and to the art form. I think it's also a testament to your intelligence, your ability to absorb that information, right? There's a whole thing of being able to absorb the information, process the information, and then release that information or bring it back up in a productive and in a good way, right? So, yeah, man, I think you're really brilliant. I think you're smart. I'm looking forward to the next special. I'm gonna enjoy this one again. I'm probably gonna go back and watch it again. But yeah, man, I'm like, keep doing your thing, bro. It's phenomenal. You're fun to watch. You're funny, and I'm excited for you, man. I'm excited for what's next.
Thanks, man.
The first one's on the house. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, the first one's on the house, and I mean, I made it with just being a lover of comedy, so it's like with comedians in mind. It's like when you're watching that stuff, but you're a comic, there are other things. Like, I want it to be funny to everybody, obviously, but there are some little things that's like, I want it to be funny to us.
Right.
You know, like when I call out the people with the comp tickets, it's like that was for like us, and then the servers in the room, you know, because it's like the people that work there, they know what's up too, you know. So it's just like those things that are just like funny in the moment, and nobody would ever say it, especially not in a special, but as like whatever.
Hey, man, that's what I'm saying, bro. It was layered, right?
Yeah.
It was layered, and I just watched Joe Coy's special live from Brooklyn 2 nights ago, right? And then I watched you last night. And, you know, obviously Joe Coy is doing a thing, but it's very, you know, it's like, this is the special. I'm very structured in what I'm doing. I'm trying to get through the whole set. But watching yours, I had the pleasure of enjoying it from a couple different perspectives. And that was a perspective of just being an audience member, listening to the material and taking in the content, but also as a comedian who's listening to like, okay, well, there's been a shift here in the content, right? And then visually watching, we've already discussed how stunning it was visually, but visually seeing your demeanor change or your positioning change at different times where I'm like, okay, this is just Chazz as a comedian right now. This is the special. This is the professional. This is fun.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it was a very enriching experience, man. And I'm not just blowing smoke, like I said earlier. Like, I legitimately enjoyed it. I think you're very talented, and I think that you should lend your services to other people who want, because you're doing it right. Like, I've seen a lot of specials where I go, man, come on, why you cut away now? Like, that was the wrong time to cut away, right? Or that angle. Why did you show me that angle? That angle served no purpose at this particular time. But for your joint, I never felt that. In fact, there were points where it was just you in front of the black backdrop. Where I was like, oh, this is perfect, because this is now, like you just said, you wanted people to be able to see it and feel like if they turn the lights down that they're in the club. Those are the moments where it's like, yo, this is the show, right? We're in it right now. I'm an audience member sitting out watching this dude. So yeah, man, props, bro.
All right, congrats, man. Everyone, check out Chazz Hawkins special. First one's on the house on YouTube. It's already, I looked, it's already blowing up a little. It's good. It's moving up quick now.
It
So
came out 3 days ago.
Going.
Over 1,000 plus views at this point.
It's over 4,000 now.
Oh, over
4,000? It jumped, baby.
That's what I'm talking about.
Congratulations.
I keep refreshing the screen, so that's, you know,
it's got to be nerve-wracking.
I'm just playing YouTube.
Me too.
Take my shit off.
I'm on that like this.
Also,
I got on 8 different devices right now. I'm like, go.
Yeah.
Go.
Refresh. I'm watching.
Yeah, exactly.
Congrats on DeMar DeRozan picking your squad there.
We coming. You know that.
Yeah. Hey, the Cavs coming too, baby. We ain't afraid. We ain't afraid of the Boston Celtics.
We got all the slashes, man. We got Malik Monk. We got De'Aaron Fox. You know, we got DeRozan now.
You got youth, and now you get some experience.
You know what? They don't got a ring, but hey, that's all right.
Did you see that skyline?
That skyline, though. You can get them shots. All right, Chazz, thanks so much, man.
Somebody might see the special and then they're like, yo, I need to come to Sacramento and play ball, you know?
Yeah, you never know. That could have sealed the deal.
Just real quickly, there was who was it? Maybe it was Gilbert Arenas. There was somebody talking about why DeMar chose Sacramento. And they was kind of dissing. They was kind of like, man, it ain't nothing out there. But if they saw that skyline video, might be like, all right, like there's a couple things going on.
Yeah. We got in and out, you know. We
got in and out. That's hilarious. We got 108-degree summers. Come on through.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, Chazz, man, thank you once again for taking the time with us, man. We really appreciate you. And we're looking forward to seeing what's next on the agenda, man, and what happens. But you've done a phenomenal job with this special, man. And I hope it keeps growing and keeps getting the views and keeps blowing up, so that, you know, that next quote is a little different.
Amen.
Yeah.
Thank you. And you know, like, I just want to say, like shouts out to Luke and Vin, the guys that shot it with me, and because like it really was like a collection of us all working together. So it's like, it's like I knew what I had to do. And there was a point like before the show when it's like you have everything set up and you've planned all this stuff out, but then it's like you still got to do the show. And so it's
Right,
like,
right.
there's this moment before I go out there where I'm like, I gotta have the best show that I've ever had.
That's Jesus. That sucks.
Yeah. But it's like, but also me realizing like, I'm sorry, I'm like kind of starting all over again, but it's like these people are here for you to win. There's all these people that came. Like we always kind of think, that it's like us against the crowd, but it's not.
No.
It's like, people are with you and they want you to do well, and they've known you and all these
they want you. Hey, look, man, we've all sat in the back of the room and seen some uncomfortable sets.
Yeah.
Right. The audience, it's uncomfortable for them too. If you struggling, then they struggling.
Yeah.
So they want to see you do well because they don't want to sit there and be like
they don't want to sit through that shit. Right.
Right. So yeah, the audience is always on your side. And when your name's on the marquee, bro, they coming for you.
Yeah.
So you can walk out and say, "Oh, this is crazy," and they go,
"It is.
This is crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. He's so funny, right?" So, but yeah, man, shout out to your team that helped put this together and build this together with you. So, yeah, man, you did it, bro. You did it.
Man. Thanks,
yeah,
man. Yeah.
And I love the fact too. And I get long-winded right here, but I love the fact too that, like you said, your mom's voice is on there. As a person who's lost his mom, and being able to hear her voice at different times, it's paramount, man. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
And not trying to get all morbid or anything, but the fact that you were conscious about being able to like internally, like externally with other people, but internally be aware that it's like, yo, man, my mom is here, my in-laws are here, my sister's here, family's here. This is not just an experience for me, but this is an experience for all of us. Right.
Yeah.
And I have friends there. So here's something that I want to share with the world, but there's also something that's very personal and very special about it for me. So the special is for you to watch, but it's also special for me. So multi-layer, bro. That's what I'm talking about. That's that next level of that mental. Straight up, man. Multi-layer. Love it. I see why you like Jay-Z so much, because Jay is always the double and triple entendres.
You know it.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, have a great day.
All right, Chazz. Congrats, man. Good seeing you again.
Thanks for spending the time with us, man. We appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely, man.
Of course, man. All right. Okay. Take care, man.
All right.
Peace.
All right. There it is, Reggie. The one and only.
Yes, sir.
Chazz Hawkins.
The one and only Chazz Hawkins. That's a cool name too. Chazz Hawkins. That's right there with Reggie Steele.
I don't know about all that. Ain't no Sal. Ain't no Salvatore, but
Salvatore Kalani. That was great, man. Chazz.
Yeah.
Chazz, he's a smart dude, man. Hardworking, obviously. I love the fact that, like I said on the podcast, I love the fact that he took the time to learn about all these different things.
And you can kind of tell. I'm gonna have to watch again and see all like the angles and the lighting.
Dude,
because that does make a difference, and that professionalism will help with views as well.
Oh, absolutely. There was, yeah, man, it was great. I like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed it, man. It was fun watching him, and I love seeing the different aspects of Chazz.
Yeah.
Right. Like I said, there's obviously, we've all seen the specials, right? And then there's a stand-up set, which is different. Like a headlining stand-up set is different from the special set. But he was able to combine both of them, where he had the special set. He had the special set and also had the stand-up set.
So, and you're able to bring the crowd into that environment. It was really cool.
Yes, it was good. It was really good. So shout out.
All right, well, that's it. Thanks for listening, everybody. It's a long, good interview, but we got a new app so Monday. So this will post on Tuesday probably. So right now out will be the latest Bourdain. The New England Bourdain episode will be on the YouTube channel.
Okay.
So we're the most localist roast beef.
Yeah.
It was funny. I was editing it and I was like, so gross. So that was so funny.
All right, I'm excited for it. I love the Bourdain segment, man. It's fun.
Yeah, they're pretty fun.
Maybe I should get in on it too. Maybe we do it from the other angle.
Yeah,
right? But I don't know if I can
make fun of your pictures.
I have to. Well, I have to. I might. We have to come up with a different version for mine.
Yeah, you have to leave the house. You have to go somewhere.
Well, and also mine isn't gonna be the poor Dane. Mine is probably be something else because I'm not eating that bullshit that you be eating. I'm not eating that shit. I'm telling you right now. It's fun. It's fun
That's
watching you
you
eat
got to
it.
go all the way in. You got to go all the way. Hey,
I
maybe you'll
guess
find
so.
a 5-coiner once in a while.
Yeah, well, you're like Mikey from Life Cereal. It's like, give it to Mikey, he'll eat it. I'm like, give it to Sal, he'll eat it, and I'll sit back and
Anything
watch
for
you
the
eat it.
bit.
And I'm like, he likes it. He likes it. He really likes it.
All right, close us out, Reginald.
All right, man. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode and our guest, Chazz Hawkins, young and up and coming comedian, very funny guy. Please go check out his special. First one's on the house on YouTube. It's already gaining momentum and it's taking off. So go check that out. We love doing this and we're going to keep doing it. And we hope that you enjoy it as well. And if you do, the best thing you can do for us is to like, share, and subscribe. And please leave a comment. Like I said, good or bad, Sal loves them all. Especially, I'm not saying leave any bad ones, but when you leave something crazy, yeah, he really relishes those, right? So with that being said, that's Sal Kalani. I'm Reggie Steele, and this is Spitballin. Peace.